4:42 a.m. on August 12, 2025. More than 300 Sinaloa cartel gunmen rolled across the Mexico-US border in a convoy of heavily armed vehicles, bringing with them 6 containers of fentanyl, and they headed straight into the Sonora Desert. This wasn't just some routine smuggling attempt. This was war. A bold strike aimed directly at the sovereignty and pride of the United States, right on American soil. The cartel thought they could sneak past radar, overwhelm border forces, and vanish before daylight. But what came next wasn't a pursuit. It was an annihilation. Every grain of sand was already in place, every signal was intercepted, and every step they took carried them closer to destruction. This is the story of how the US military wiped out the entire cartel force in the heart of the desert. No warning, no options left. Stay with me to see how America responds to anyone who dares cross the red line. Don't blink before the secret is revealed. And don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts on this battle. 4:42 a.m. The sky above southern Arizona was pitch black. No moon, no stars, not even a patrol plane. Along the edge of the Sonora Desert, just under 2 kilometers from the Mexican border, a massive convoy moved silently through the Sierra El Panacati Pass, a natural corridor once used for drug smuggling, now expanded into a temporary invasion route. No warnings, no radio chatter, just the low, muffled hum of diesel engines running in quiet mode, and the faint sweep of infrared lights probing the path ahead. Leading the way were 3 armored command vehicles, followed by 18 military trucks, 24 modified SUVs bristling with heavy machine guns, 4 armored vehicles fitted with mobile anti-air systems, and 6 refrigerated containers carrying over 2.7 tons of pure fentanyl, enough to kill over 200 million people. On board were over 300 cartel gunmen armed with M4 carbines, PKM machine guns, M203 grenade launchers, FN6 shoulder-fired missiles, and 12 mini kamikaze drones. And these weren't just Sinaloa fighters. The convoy also carried Colombian mercenaries, ex-Park soldiers, semi-professional artillery teams, and electronic warfare technicians. All were part of a force quietly reorganized by Sinaloa under the name Añad Fantasma, a ghost unit trained for cross-border operations, acting independently of the Mexican government. But the question was, why would the cartel take such a reckless gamble? Why would an organization that thrived in the shadows suddenly mobilize a large armed force to march openly into US territory? The answer began 2 weeks earlier, on July 29, 2025. The DEA, working with the Mexican military, dismantled a major Sinaloa transit route in Sonora, seizing over 40 tons of precursor chemicals and arresting 17 fentanyl technicians, including the son of a senior commander. That strike didn't just hit the cartel's wallet, it shattered the unspoken arrangement between cartels and local Mexican officials. Sinaloa thought they had government insiders. Instead, they'd been betrayed. In retaliation, cartel leaders decided to launch an unprecedented counter-strike. Cross the border, hit the US head-on, destroy border checkpoint 13 in Arizona, reclaim a newly established fentanyl route in the Gila Mountains, and send a bloody warning to Washington and Mexico City alike. We are not so easily destroyed. The order was issued on August 9th. The mission was called Operation Roto, or Operation Torn Sky. The plan: infiltrate within 90 minutes, obliterate the checkpoint, free seized fentanyl shipments, and pull out before dawn. Leading the force was Salvador El Inky Carranza, a commander with a $10 million US bounty, infamous for more than 50 assassinations in Culiacan and for running drug distribution networks in Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico. But Carranza didn't know that US intelligence had been tracking him for over a year. Every route, every driver, every fake phone number, every satellite ping had already been logged by the Department of Defense's Border Analytics Data Center. And the moment the convoy crossed NORAD's virtual boundary, the Killbox Bravo system came alive. No alarms, no flashing lights, just a simple encrypted signal from buried magnetic sensors straight to the command center. Bravo 01 locked down behind the dust, beneath the scorched cacti, among jagged cliffs. 3,000 US troops were already waiting. Delta Force, SEAL Team 6, Army Rangers, Marines, the 82nd Airborne, combat engineers, UAV crews, and electronic warfare specialists, split into 14 tactical clusters, holding the terrain for 40 hours without ever blinking. No recon drones overhead, no patrol planes in the skies, just silence and readiness. When the first Cartel tire rolled over a sensor, when their infrared beams cut across the kill zone, the war didn't begin. It had begun a year earlier. And now only one question mattered. Would the Cartel realize they were no longer the hunters, but the prey? Just 2 minutes after the lead vehicle crossed the death line, Killbox Bravo came alive. No sirens, no warning shots, just death from every angle. Right on schedule, a HIMARS battery from the 75th Artillery Brigade, hidden 19 kilometers away, launched its opening strike. 6 GMLRS missiles, steel-piercing warheads, screaming at near Mach 3, invisible on radar, streaked through the night. They slammed into the convoy's second command vehicle. The first explosion shredded the armored truck like paper, hurling 2 gunmen from the roof, their bodies thrown 30 meters and torn apart. At the same moment, on the western cliffs, SEAL Team 6 snipers fired together, laser-guided 7.62mm rounds, smashing through bulletproof glass, punching clean through foreheads, sending weapons clattering mid-air. 4 Switchblade 600 loitering drones launched from a hidden base at Black Ridge zeroed in on PKM heavy machine gun trucks, positions capable of firing back. In just 40 seconds, 5 Cartel fire bases were wiped out. Each detonation streamed live to the command center in high-resolution thermal video. On the ground to the north, Delta Force executed Pincer 1, flanking the convoy from 600 meters away. They fired M3 Carl Gustaf anti-tank weapons straight into the convoy's middle section, hitting the 4th container loaded with 400 kilograms of fentanyl. The blast tore the container wide open, spewing a 30-meter cloud of toxic white smoke. Escorts panicked, fleeing their vehicles, only to be mowed down by drone-guided mortar fire from the southwest. Within 3 minutes and 25 seconds of the first strike, at least 11 vehicles were completely destroyed. 6 more flipped or disabled after hitting directional spike mines. And that was only the first layer of the trap. Beneath the convoy's route, Claymore and M15 pressure mines had been programmed not to blow all at once, but in a fan-shaped sequence, detonating as each vehicle hit its mark. Meanwhile, the 101st Brigade's electronic warfare team fired up the REAP-X system, jamming GPS signals so that the Cartel's recon drones went blind and crashed like broken birds. At the same time, Paladin M109 self-propelled artillery guns fired laser-guided cluster rounds from the northeast, cutting off any chance of retreat. Panic spread faster than gunfire inside the convoy. Forward commanders lost all contact as ECM devices fried their radios. 1 gunman scrambled onto a turret to fire back, but a .50 caliber sniper round from 1,200 meters split his helmet clean. In his command vehicle, Carranza tried to rally a response, but his private satellite link was blocked by jammers from Fort Huachuca. No maps, no orders, no escape. By 4:44 a.m., he gave his final command: break the encirclement. But he didn't know his order was intercepted, decoded, and relayed straight to U.S. Special Forces to trigger Phase 2. Within 7 minutes and 50 seconds, more than a third of the convoy had been obliterated. A survivor later described from the back seat what he saw: comrades gunned down, containers erupting, vehicles burning like fireworks in the dark. Not one U.S. soldier was visible. Not a single word was heard. Only fire, smoke, and programmed silence falling like judgment. This wasn't a firefight, it was an execution, and the cartel, once feared across northern Mexico, was now hunted like an animal being driven to its death. 4:52 a.m. As smoke curled from the convoy's front and fentanyl containers smoldered in the sand, a second wave of destruction swept in. This time, not with missiles or artillery, but with signals, numbers, and lines of silent code. The cartel commanders, trained to fight UAVs and snipers, had never faced an enemy they couldn't see. This was campaign-level electronic warfare run by the 3rd Battalion, 75th Digital Warfare Brigade, alongside NSA and DIA signal teams. When the REAP-X system came online from a hidden command post in Tucson, the battlefield turned into a maze of twisted radio waves. Satellite feeds were spoofed, GPS jammed down to micro levels. Cartel radios began spitting out false signals. Alpha Unit thought they were west, but in reality, they drifted 800 meters east. A logistics team retreating to safe coordinates walked straight into a Claymore minefield. No one gave orders. No one knew where they were. Meanwhile, U.S. Special Forces sifted through live audio data, cracking every call, filtering voices. A mid-level commander was identified by his Sinaloa accent. Within 40 seconds, a Ghost X surveillance drone hovered above, silently guiding artillery onto his command truck. Every cartel movement, raising a rifle, slamming a door, changing direction, was tracked not by eyes, but by body heat, radio waves, and even ground vibrations from their footsteps. On Black Mesa, 2 mini-ASA radars swept the combat zone, measuring engine noise and gunfire frequencies to pinpoint resistance. Every action, every move, instantly converted to coordinates, updated every second, relayed to artillery 14 kilometers away. Paladin M, 109S and HIMARS units fired relentlessly. But the killing blow didn't come from the ground. It came from the silent sky. At low altitude, 4 Phoenix X loitering drones, new Lockheed prototypes, had been spiraling overhead since 3:30 a.m. Signal-free, radar-absorbing, each carrying 2 GBU-39 small-diameter bombs with dual infrared and radar seekers. Once the command authorized ground priority strikes, the Phoenixes opened their bays. Bombs fell like invisible blades, carving into vehicles housing comm hubs, signal jammers, or drug stockpiles. In under 70 seconds, the convoy's central hub was leveled. No drone whine, no radar pings, no warning. On the southwest flank, the cartel made their last desperate break. 4 vehicles sped toward the Gila Mountains, thinking backup GPS signals would lead them to safety. But those signals were fake, generated by MWK-11 spoofers hidden along Highway 85. Instead of Mexico, they drove straight into a virtual kill box. 3 minutes later, all 4 were struck by Switchblade 600 drones, warheads exploding right through windshields and driver cabins. Through it all, U.S. forces never revealed themselves. Not a single soldier left their post, not a footprint in the sand. Only fire, smoke, and a central system tallying. 314 neutralized. 05:03 a.m., just 21 minutes since the first salvo, electronic warfare sealed Pincer Alpha. 2, jamming satellites, killing all 300 to 900 megahertz channels, cutting off every last cartel survivor. Those still inside vehicles were utterly isolated. No commanders, no maps, no distress calls. One gunman staggered out, shouting into his radio, "Can anyone hear me?" Only static replied. Seconds later, a deep explosion swallowed him. No answer. No survivors. This battle had no declarations, no flags, no trenches. The cartel was destroyed not by what they could see, but by what they couldn't. Data. That was the weapon they could never fight. Not because America was bigger, not because America was stronger, but because the cartel had stepped into a battlefield where every grain of sand was listening, every signal was read, and every choice was already predicted. They thought they were hunters, but now they were prey to an invisible blade honed by intelligence, technology, and silence. As most of the convoy burned, UAVs down, and survivors disoriented, new shadows rose from behind. From rock hollows, old border bunkers, dry riverbeds, U.S. rearguard counterattack teams emerged. For 3 days, they'd lain hidden, waiting. Now, elements of the 82nd Airborne, coordinated with MARSOC and Delta, stepped out. A force of over 900 split into fan-shaped units of 6 to 10. Lightly equipped, they moved in low-noise JLTVs, carrying M4A1 rifles, Carl Gustav launchers, frequency jammers, night vision, and mini-drones. For 40 hours, they had not moved, coated in desert dust, waiting. Their job wasn't to strike first. Their job was to wait until escape was impossible. That time had come. When the last cartel vehicles tried to retreat south, thinking the zone was clear, they ran right into the third blade of the ambush. From 400 meters up, infrared UAVs tracked every survivor. Coordinates streamed to sniper teams. A storm of bullets began, unseen. Each burst struck chests or skulls. Gunmen sprayed wildly into darkness, firing at ghosts. Shouts, cries, scrambled signals filled the air. On thermal imaging, a high-value target appeared, a camouflaged Armadillo command truck carrying 3 senior Sinaloa leaders, trying to tap into a satellite link across the border. Post-battle confirmation revealed one of them as Victor El Lobo Cardenas, the overseer of Sinaloa's entire fentanyl network in the U.S. Southwest, a man with a $10 million bounty, nicknamed the Death Guard of the cities. His vehicle was targeted. The first shot blew out the front wheel, flipping the truck. 12 minutes later, U.S. forces moved in, neutralized the escort, and captured El Lobo alive, along with 2 encrypted SSDs containing maps and routes for Phoenix, Los Angeles, Dallas, and Tucson. The drives also exposed temporary transit points and 7 Mexican officials tied to cartel protection. By 5:41 a.m., barely an hour since the first strike, the encirclement was complete. No one escaped. Survivors were captured or killed. Some dropped weapons and surrendered. Others played dead, only to be detected by heartbeat drones. Not one U.S. soldier was lost. Not one bullet missed. The entire operation unfolded like a silent symphony of destruction, perfect, orchestrated, merciless. Across the Sonora Desert, only one sound remained: the heavy rotors of a CH-47 Chinook carrying Victor Cardenas and the drives to a covert base. He said nothing. He didn't resist, but the fear in his eyes as he looked down at the burning wreckage said it all. The battle wasn't just over, it was never his. 6:15 a.m. As the sun broke over the desert, the battlefield sank into silence. No gunfire, no engines, only black smoke curling from twisted wrecks, the acrid stench of burning oil, rubber, and blood. In just 93 minutes, over 300 cartel gunmen, 46 vehicles, 6 fentanyl containers, and 3 commanders had been erased. On U.S. soil, 0 U.S. losses, no celebration, no victory speech, just a short Pentagon statement at 8 a.m. But on social media, images spread. Smoke rising like pillars behind border checkpoint 13. Charred vehicles scattered across 3 kilometers, one unforgettable shot. A U.S. soldier kneeling beside a wounded 17-year-old cartel fighter, face burned, eyes shut, still gripping a bent AK. The soldier gently pulled the rifle away and offered his water bottle in the middle of that blackened dawn. The only trace of humanity left on the field. There were no flags planted, no shouts of triumph, just silence. But that silence wasn't empty. It was a warning. America doesn't need to talk before it acts. It can wait. It can watch. And when the time comes, it can end everything in under an hour. The Battle of Sonora wasn't just an ambush. It was a statement, spoken in silence. From now on, every cross-border smuggler will hear that silence before it swallows them. Operation Killbox Bravo wasn't just a success. It was proof of U.S. military strength, intelligence precision, and moral resolve in modern, symmetric war. In under 90 minutes, 3,000 American troops, from SEAL Team 6 to Delta to the 82nd Airborne, moved invisibly, flawlessly, and eliminated a cartel army with firepower rivaling a battalion. With the Rebec system, Phoenix X drones, ASA radars, and a triple pincer strategy, the U.S. military not only annihilated the force, but did it without revealing a single position, without a single casualty, without a single mistake. This victory didn't come from numbers. It came from patience, from silence, from the strike of an invisible blade. But what stands out isn't just the military brilliance. It's the moment when a soldier gave water to a wounded teenager. As the battle ended, humanity remained. From this, Americans must remember, national security isn't just the duty of the military. It's the will of a nation that refuses to compromise with crime. Leaders must keep investing in both strength and restraint under one rule. Enemies may cross the border, but they can never cross preparation. And for those plotting next, look to Sonora. Because next time, America won't need 90 minutes, just 9. If you see this as a victory worth pride, don't forget to subscribe and follow us for the next operation. Thank you for being here. See you in the next video.